reviewed the COMDT structure as a way to parse, to break the Mishnah into its parts, and we looked at the example. Let's see how to do it in action on a Mishnah. So when parsing a Mishnah, we will always follow the DCC process. Divide, categorize, and connect. We'll first divide the Mishnah to its parts, then we'll categorize each part using the DCC labels, and lastly, we'll connect different parts in a logical way to each other. Okay, so basically, not all Mishnayot will have all the COMDT structures, right? And so if something is missing, if a label is missing, we can think for ourselves, what can it be? For example, what is the ta'am or the reasoning for this din, for this ruling by the speaker or omer, right, in the Mishnah? Okay, so let's start. So when starting the DCC, the easiest way is to start with the din or the ruling. There are a list of din words that are pretty much always the same. And if we identify them, if we just memorize those din words and they'll repeat many, many times, then we will be able to identify, oh, that's the part which is the din in the Mishnah. Okay, we can always use our class Google site, right? In there is a list of din words under the halachic terms and concepts. It's slide 5. I'll show you exactly how to get there. So when you open our site, right, and you go down, down, down all the way to here, this is the Torah, written Torah text that we've learned. I'm going to quickly move to slide number 5. And here we go. We have the din words yatsa, lo yatsa, psula, machshir, and there will be more din words in the future, right? These are listed right here. So we're going to go back to our text and see what comes next. So next, after we identify the din, we're going to go to the omer. Omer or speaker is easy to spot because usually it comes with the name Rabbi, Rabbi Yehuda or Rabbi Eliezer, right? Sometimes the Mishnah is brought without a specific speaker, without a rabbi, and in this case we call it a Tanakama, or the first Tana, the first sage or scholar or rabbi is speaking. Next, we will look for the Mikre. In most cases, the Mikrim are going to appear before the Dinim, before the ruling. And so the Mikre may include many words that we don't yet know, or halachic concepts we don't recognize, and that's fine. We'll leave it for now, and we'll get to it later. Next, we'll look for the ta'am or the reasoning. In most cases, right, the ta'am will be a reference of a biblical text. And so we can spot these by looking for the phrase shene'emar, or as it is stated, written or said, followed by a biblical citation, like Ecclesiastes 1:15. If we see this biblical citation, we know that this is brought as a reference, as a ta'am, right, reasoning for the din that was said by a specific rabbi. And in some cases, not always, the Mishnah will begin with a koteret, with a title. And this can be spotted by a general statement, usually followed by the mikre. For example, in Mishnah Sukkah 4:4, we see a koteret that states mitzvat lulav keitzad, or the translation, the mitzvah of lulav, how is it carried out? And it follows by a specific mikrim and dinim, right, that basically explain how to fulfill the mitzvah of netilat lulav. So let's see how we can do it here in the Sukkah. The next video will help us to break it down into the process.